Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Sharing Wisdom. I'm your host, Angie Wisdom, and today I'm going to kind of break down some of the thoughts around goals. We're going to bust some of the myths. We're going to give you space to create in a whole different way than you've ever created before. Now, if you're already hearing this and going, I'm not really kind of that goal setting person, stick with me because we're not talking about goals in the traditional way that you're probably used to hearing them. I'm not going to hammer into your head something around SMART goals and making sure you have this well thought out plan. I really just want to get you in the space of understanding about the belief system you have to have, period. So they're really important pieces. And even if you don't pertain them to your goals, it's going to relate to other areas in your life. So it's going to be a valuable episode, and I'm going to make it short and sweet, like 20 minutes. So stick with me so that we can give you the belief and the space and the desire to really set goals. Because here's the thing. Goals allow you to get intentional about what's most important in your life. Think about that. Listen to that one more time. Goals give you the space, they give you the direction to get intentional about what's most important to you in your life. That's a much different concept than this idea that goals define you, that goals are a performance metric, that goals show how much you can achieve and your success and who you are. I want you to wipe that clear of your mind right now. And I know some of you who are like goal getters and achievers are like, what? What do you mean? Like goals prove that I can be the best. Goals prove that I have this discipline and tenacity and perseverance. Yeah. But what goals really do is they give you that intentionality. They activate that prefrontal cortex for you. They activate the reticular activating system for you. So they fire off different areas of your brain to help you get more of what you want in your life. So if we think about it from that perspective, we can all take a step back and just go, well, what if I just want more joy in my life? What if I just want the relationships in my life to be more fruitful? What if I just want to be more present? Goals give us a space to do all of that. So this isn't a conversation about, I'm going to double my revenue. I'm going to scale my business. It can be that too. Absolutely. You can choose your goal around anything you want. But most important, I just want you to look at it from this space of if there's something that you want in your life, setting a goal around it is going to give your brain the intentionality and the direction it needs to make sure that it shows up for you, to make sure that you take action and make it happen or bring it into your life. Without that goal could just be this thought, this dream, this desire that just kind of floats around out there. Whether you want to grow your business, whether you want more joy in your life, gosh, it would be nice if I had more money in the bank account. It would be so great if I didn't worry all the time. I would love to be more present. So some of those statements that maybe you've heard yourself say, those unspoken desires that have popped up in your mind, those can actually all be goals. So that's what we're digging into today. And I really want you to walk away from this podcast, this 15, 20 minutes with me, feeling more empowered to set goals around what's right for your life, what's right for the season that you're in, and what you want out of this coming year. Before I even set goals, I always do a reflection. And I'm actually going to put that in the notes for you. I'll put in some top reflection questions for you because it is really important. I just did a 2-session reflection and kind of confidence and clarity class for people around setting goals. And it always starts with the reflection part, really understanding what you got in your previous year, what was good, what was not so good, what kept you up, what fired you up, all these different components so that we have this kind of a basket of awareness and information to then decide, gosh, if I know all this, what do I really want to do with it? And what do I want in my coming year? So this particular time, I want you to walk away with a desire around what you want more of in your life. And also some of the key components, such as the belief system that has to show up for you in order to get it. Belief is the number one thing. Without the belief, none of it's ever going to happen. So the belief system. Also some grace around your goals. Not living in this space where it's so rigid and so formalized that goals feel like a sentence instead of, a fun journey desire. Also the expectations. super, super important what kind of expectations you have around these goals, making sure your effort matches your expectations, and also the fear. I just was in a group today, and one of the conversations that came up was the fear around setting goals. Like, well, what happens if I can't achieve the goals that I'm setting? I don't want to fail. So those are the big nuggets that we're getting into today. 4 juicy pieces around goals. And again, they're really going to pertain to anything in your life that I think are going to be real needle movers for you. So let's think about this from a perspective first. Like I said, goals are there to help you get more of what you want in your life. Get rid of the idea that goals define you, that they measure your worth, they measure your performance, anything like that. That gives us the space to just step into this conversation with peace and joy and opportunity. Let's jump in first with the idea around the belief system. No matter what you decide you want more of in your life, I'm even going to phrase it that way instead of a goal. No matter what you decide that you want more in your life, that you want change in your life, the first thing that has to happen is the belief system. If you do not believe it is possible, if you do not believe that you can achieve it, that you can have it, that you deserve it, our efforts are going to go without results. So the first thing has to be this belief system. And check that. You may instantly believe that it's possible, or you may find some resistance there. But I want you to live in this space first, because what happens is if you don't actually believe that you can achieve what you're setting out to do, then you're going to have what's called cognitive dissonance. You're going to be trying to take action in one direction while your brain is telling you that it's not possible. And so when both of those two come together, there's going to be a collision, and it's not going to allow it to show up in your life. So let's give you an example here. If you think about, I want to make $1 million this year. I want to make $1 million, or I want peace in my life. Take either one of those. It could be monetary. It could just be your state of being. And you have this goal and you're like, yes, I want that joy, or I want this peace, and I want this $1 million. And in the back of your mind, you're like, there's no way. How in the world could I have peace in my life? I've got 5 kids. I've got a demanding job. My family, is always needing something from me. My friends, always need my help. Like, there's just no way I could have peace in my life. If that is the case, then what will happen is when you go to seek this peace, when you go to take action on it, your brain will be showing you that there's no way for you to have this peace. It's going to deliver more chaos to you. It's going to deliver more obligation to you, more work. It's going to align your world. It's going to shape your day with everything that aligns with your thought. That thought that says there's no way I could have peace because of all these things going on. Your thoughts create your reality. So think about that. Your thoughts create your reality. If you want to have peace in your life, then your thoughts have to precede that. Your thoughts must be like, I can have peace in my life. I can have peace with the workload that I have. I can have peace. I can help my family and also have peace. I can be a great friend and also have peace. You have to start shaping your belief around what you want, so then your reality follows it. And that reticular activating system and that prefrontal cortex and quantum field and all of these great things kind of come together to start laying out the pathway for you to see that you can indeed have peace in your life with all of these things going on. Same thing with $1 million. If you're like, I could never make $1 million, that's going to be this much business. And how am I ever going to get those clients or grow my company that way? If that's the underlying belief, yet you go out there to try to make this happen, you're going to be that person that goes, gosh, see, I missed another deal. I lost another deal. Gosh, I couldn't get that client I wanted. It seems like there's no opportunity out there. Your reality is going to match up with those thoughts that, gosh, I don't know how I'll ever be able to do this. So this is why, first and foremost, the number one thing you have to do is have that belief. And I want to caution you here on getting tripped up by saying, yeah, but I don't know that it's true. You may not know whether it's true or not, but if you start choosing the thought and choosing to believe it, that will shift for you. It may even seem hard. It may seem hard to have peace right now. It may seem hard to make that money right now. But your first job is to start believing there's a space of possibility around it. I could make that $1 million. I know a lot of great people. I'm a great connector. There's a ton of opportunity out there. I'm really good at sales. Whatever it is that starts to anchor in that belief, that's going to allow you to create the change, to take the action, anything that's going to lead you closer to your goals. So that's number one. Belief has to be first before anything else. If you get stuck on the belief part, then we need to start looking at, one, do you want to set your expectations around something different, your goal around something different that is believable? Or another thing you can do is, how can you go out and get the belief? How can you borrow the belief from somebody else? I mean, if we're really being honest here, whatever you want has been done by somebody else. Somebody else has achieved joy and peace in their life with all they have going on, same as you. Somebody else has made that $1 million. Somebody else has started their podcast. Somebody else has scaled their company. So we can always look for external information that gives us a new bias and belief that there is the opportunity there. So it can be within yourself. And if you really have a hard time finding that belief within, then looking outside to go, where can I find this proof? Now, in addition to this belief, I want you to go into your goals and your year understanding something. Your goals can change. You don't have to stick to them. And I know there are some performance people out there right now that are like, I'm done listening to her. Like, what do you mean they can change? How is this possible? Again, if we go back to this first concept that goals don't define you, they're not a performance metric. They're not a determination of your self-worth and your value. Then we can kind of let go of that and go, goals are a choice. We get to choose what we want in our life. We set goals so that it directs our attention towards that, and we're more likely to get it. So yes, you can change your goals. If you decide you want to make the $1 million, or that you want to scale your company, or that you want to get more physically fit, whatever it may be, if you decide that is your goal, and then on that journey, you decide maybe it isn't for you, let it go. And I don't say that lightly, like just quit. But if you go through this process of determining like, hey, I know me better than anyone else, and making the $1 million isn't as important as I thought it would be, or being, in the best shape of my life or having a six-pack doesn't really mean as much to me as I thought it did, then why stay with it? And that's not quitting. That's not failing. It's becoming aware and changing your mind. And I know, like I said, some people are really going to have a problem with that. I don't. I live in this space that if you trust yourself and you know yourself, then you get to make decisions for yourself that guide you in the best way possible. I know that if I decide a goal isn't right for me anymore, or I decide to change my direction, that is the right choice for me. And there's no judgment. I also know that I will never quit on something that really matters to me. I will never quit on a goal just because it's hard and just because I have to, work through something or get out of my comfort zone. No, I know myself better than that. And I think you do too. But I absolutely will change courses on a goal if I decide that is not in alignment with my values, that does not align with what I want in my year. It wasn't really what I thought it would be. What's the big deal? So I want you to, this second piece, give yourself grace with your goals. Because when you do that, you open up this space to try things. You open up this space to push yourself and see what you're truly capable of. But without that, if you have this narrow-minded mentality that if I set a goal, it has to happen. I can't change directions. I can't fall short of it or else, then think about what kind of goals you're actually going to set. You're not going to be inspired to set goals that stretch you. You're not going to be inspired to set goals that are a little bit of the unknown. So give yourself the grace with the goals that you set so that you can try new things, you can stretch yourself, and you can also build that relationship of trust with yourself to know whether or not something is right for you and whether something is meaningful for you. All right, with that, I want to kind of tag this third one on, and that's the fear. Giving yourself grace with goals allows you to let go of the fear of failure. And that was something I mentioned that just came up in a group today, was being afraid of not reaching their goal. Now think about this for a second. If you set a goal to do 2 million in revenue, and you definitely have to do the work to say, is this reasonable, right? Is this logical? Obviously, you're not going to set that without any type of data or logical information to say that this is possible, even if it's a stretch. But you set that, and then you end up giving it your all. You end up tracking, you end up pivoting, you end up navigating, you do all the things that you need to do. And at the end of the year, you've given it your all, you've done your best, and you hit 1.8. Is that a failure? And if you're saying it's a failure, that fear of failure is what's going to hold you back from setting goals that maybe are a little uncomfortable, that maybe feel like you're not sure whether or not you could reach them. So again, this falls a little into the grace category around your goals. But think about it. If you would have set a goal for 1.2 million, and you're like, I know that's doable, I can definitely do that, so I don't worry about failing that one, I'm going to go ahead and set the goal for 1.2. And then you hit the 1.2. But you could have set it for 2 million and end up hitting the 1.8. Which one's really a failure here? To me, I'm okay if I don't hit it as long as I gave it my all, as long as I put everything into it that I had, which again, we go back to that self-trust component. I trust myself. I know myself. I'm going to commit. I'm going to do the work. So as long as I did that, it's a win. Chances are I did better going after that stretch goal than I would have done with a more conservative guaranteed goal. What you set your mind to is where that, again, your reticular activating system, your prefrontal cortex, it's where it's all going to zone in at. So oftentimes you'll hear people say like, oh, I set a goal for 1 million and I hit it. I should have set it for 2. Yes. Because what you're telling your mind all the time, if we're in the right headspace, is hit the million, hit the million, hit the million. So it's not surprising that you hit the million. If you would have said 1.5, it's likely you would have hit 1.5. Now, again, we're assuming that you're doing the work and you're showing up to do that. So that's 3, is really, if you want to be able to stretch yourself and do more than the ordinary, let go of the fear of failure around goals, because again, it doesn't define you. It's not a performance metric. It's not, your badge of honor that you hit this goal and you achieved it. It's for you. It's for you, not for the world. It's for you. So if you approach it from that standpoint, you're going to be able to set bigger, audacious goals and know that whatever you get done on them is a win. All right. The 4th point I want to bring to you, as we're hitting the 19-minute mark here, so I'm going to go fast. The 4th piece that I'm bringing to you is around expectations versus effort. This is so, so important. You have to really be clear on the effort that you want to take to reach this goal and ask yourself what are realistic expectations. If you are unrealistic about your expectations and you're putting effort out that does not match the expectations, you are going to be disappointed. And if you are disappointed, you are not going to be motivated and inspired to continue going. Okay, the last point I want to get to as we're wrapping up here is expectations versus effort. If your expectations are out of alignment with the amount of effort that you're putting in, you will create disappointment. Your results will not show. You will be disappointed. You will lose confidence, interest, motivation, inspiration, all that good stuff. And that's where the goal goes to the graveyard. So I want you to be really, really clear. When you set a goal or a desire in your life, you have to decide, am I being realistic with the expectations and the effort that I'm putting out? So let's go back to this idea that you want peace in your life. That's a goal for you. And you're like, okay, I'm going to start meditating in the mornings and I'm going to start letting go of the things that bother me. And you set out some roadmap for yourself. And you're expecting that in a couple of days, you're going to have this peaceful life, that you shouldn't be stressed out anymore, and that you're going to have so much more joy and you're going to feel so much more relaxed. Do your expectations match that of the effort that you're putting out? Is it realistic? Eventually, sure. But right now, like, what are you actually expecting from the effort that you're putting out? And you can kind of inspect this in a couple different ways. You can look at data, you can look at research, you can look at what others, have been likely to see from the same thing in order to give you real information. But again, with that example, if you're like, well, I expect everything to feel so much better and I'm not going to be as stressed, and a week goes by and you're like, I have meditated every single day. I have been really good about not letting people get under my skin, but I am still not living in peace. It's not really realistic. So I want you to be really clear on your expectations and even create almost like micro expectations. What do you think will happen in the first week or the second week or the first month or the first 60 days, 90 days? Get really real about what you expect. Sometimes the best expectation is no expectation, especially when you're starting something that takes some time to ramp up. So in that mindset department, in that peace department, the joy department, that is not an overnight fix. So if you're expecting to be, blissfully joyful and peaceful from a week of getting control of your mindset, it's unrealistic. If you're expecting to create a massive pipeline for revenue within 2 weeks, that's unrealistic. If you're expecting to shed 10 pounds in a week of exercise, that's not realistic. And again, it's so important that we look at this because we want your inspiration, your motivation, that desire to continue. And if the expectations aren't being met, we lose all of that. So really get clear on what you're expecting. Give yourself grace even with the expectations, and know that maybe you just don't even know what to expect, but you're in it for the long run. Kind of firm up your commitment around expectations or even without them. So when you think about that goal that you want in your life, just ask yourself, what's realistic for me to expect? And if you do this ahead of time, you won't be blindsided with a missed expectation in the process. And that's what we're trying to avoid here. We don't want to give your mind any reason to throw in the towel and be like, I knew I shouldn't have done this. I knew this wasn't going to work. I knew I wouldn't be able to bring in a client. I knew I wouldn't be able to stick to my supplement regimen. Like whatever it may be, your mind is going to look for an out because you're stretching out of your comfort zone. And so you have to be proactive in front of that to say, you know what, I'm going to ride this out for 30 days. I'm going to ride it out for 60 days, 6 months, no expectations, just commitment, and we'll see where this takes us. Or I hope to see some peace in my life within 30 days. And fortunately, we now have all this AI so that we can actually ask these questions and get some real information around, gosh, if I have been in an unpeaceful place for 40 years and I'm starting to choose peace today, how long do you think it might take for me to feel those benefits? And at least we have some type of expectations around that. So that's it. I feel like it was a little bit of a fire hose, but I wanted to give you all a space to, one, inspire you to create goals. Because again, goals are what gives your brain direction to put more of what you want in your life or help you grow in the direction you want to go. That's it. Simple as that. They move the needle in your life around what's most important. So I want you to feel inspired to go, what do I want in my life? Where do I want change or growth? Or what do I want to be different in this year? And then when you set those goals, anchor in the belief first. First things first, have the belief it is possible. Have the belief that you deserve it, that you're worthy, all of that. Be flexible. Grace with your goals. Nothing is set in stone. Lean in on your own self-trust and know what's right for you. The fear around it, let go of the fear. Goals don't define you. They don't measure your worthiness or performance or anything like that. So let go of the fear of failure. If you shoot for a goal and you don't make it and you still had growth, that is a win. Reframe that. And then the last part, be realistic with your expectations so that you can keep that motivation, inspiration at a high level. And that's what's going to create the discipline and the momentum to keep you going to create more of what you want in your life. That's simple, that's short. And I want to hear from you. So if you're going through this process and this inspired you in any way, message me. I want to know what your goal is. I want to know what your growth is. I want to cheer for you behind the scenes over here and hold some space for you to reach that because you deserve it and you're worthy. And I mentioned those reflection questions earlier. So if you want to do a little reflecting before you step into what is for you in 2026, in the show notes, there will be a link to 2025 reflection questions. Take the time to reflect and see what's really important to you and what you had in your life and what you want in your life. It's super powerful. And again, you deserve the time and the space to do that. So I hope you enjoyed these little nuggets of wisdom. And if you know someone who needs them, please share. Pass the episode along to them. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, because I love showing up for you guys and I want to know that it makes a difference for you. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Sharing Wisdom.